What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Tottenham Talk. With your favorite anchors, Clayton Troyer and Matt Kuster. As much as we don't want to be here right now, well, we're going to explain and give our thoughts of what we think our player state is, because we are horrible.
Yep, this is going to be another recap video of another loss. Actually, our third loss consecutively. Apparently, they were saying in the middle of the game, Matt, that was the first time we've lost 3 times consecutively since 2012, which is so bad. I mean, that was forever ago. You know, I was 12 years old. So we're gonna hop in here. We're gonna kind of give you our breakdown of the game, try to analyze it as best we can. You know, the tactics weren't great in the game. The statistics weren't great. So, you know, we're going to try and analyze that the best we can. But most importantly, what we're going to try and do here is kind of give you a rundown of what do we got to change, because, you know, seems like we're doing this every episode, Matt, where we come on here, we're immediately disappointed and beaten down by the club we love, but that's part of it. So should we hop into it?
Let's do it.
All right. So let's start off with some stats.
I am such an idiot. I didn't plug my mic in.
That's funny. You're good. So let's start off with some stats.
How do I sound now?
Pretty good. So possession was not as bad as it seemed. It was 42-58 in Chelsea's favor. Passes, they had a lot more passes. Sorry. Pass accuracy was about the same. We had a lot more fouls, obviously. We had 2 shots on target. They had 2 shots on target. But we only had 7 shots total. They had 18. So, I'm going to start you off with a kind of a hot take here, okay?
Yeah, hit me.
So, while, yes, our defense is a major issue, they aren't great. They're not composed. They are letting in stupid mistakes, letting in stupid goals, giving them stupid opportunities. I don't think our defense is our biggest issue right now. What do you think about that?
Well, that is a hot take because defensively we have been pretty poor, but looking back at our 3 losses, we've only put 1 goal in. And the 3 points we played are Chelsea, Brighton, and Liverpool. I just don't think with the quality we have, 1 goal is not good enough, obviously.
Well, yeah, so that's my point.
You do state a good point on our offense not necessarily being that strong. I would say it's kind of hard to obviously not have one of the best strikers in the world play, and I think that would have made a big difference.
Do you really? Because here's the thing: I feel that we weren't playing that well, even with Harry Kane.
I think it would have made a difference. Absolutely.
When was the last time we got a good win? Leeds?
I think that was our last win. Or no, last one was Sheffield. It was 3-1.
Okay. But you see my point. My point is, yes, we didn't have Harry Kane and we don't have Harry Kane, but that's not an excuse in my opinion. You see a team like West Ham who has, you know, Mikel Antonio, who's not scoring, but he's playing well in the sense that he's laying the ball off. He's a big body who's holding the ball up and then laying it off to, like, Lingard last night. He played incredibly well. And it's like, why are we so reliant on Harry Kane, or why is he our excuse for everything when in reality, there's so much more that we can do with it. We have a backup striker. Vinny's not a bad striker, but it seems like whenever Kane gets injured, our team goes into this free fall of we don't know how to create opportunities. We don't know how to attack going forward. We don't know how to build up a play. We don't know how to make a pass. I mean, you know, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think Kane would have made a difference. Yes, I'm not necessarily using him as I'm not necessarily saying that.
Right. No, I get that.
Don't get me wrong. Having a backup striker, you do hope for what can he produce. But you know, you make a valid point on whether our offense might be actually weaker than our defense, and right now is a good time to evaluate that since Kane is out. And that's, like, I feel like the best time too, because where's the attacking depth, especially against a team against Chelsea? You know, Chelsea's usually a top 4, top 5 team, And this game was a big game, fighting for that sixth position. And I was hoping, and I'm sure you were too, that Vinicius was going to start, and he did, and he played the whole game. I thought he was just out there.
I didn't.
So it comes down.
Let's pause on Carlos for a sec, just so we don't, stop. But like, he didn't do a terrible job of doing what he is. His role is. His role is to hold the ball up and kind of try and just keep it in some way, shape, or form. And he did a decent job of that. I thought, of just like, we'd play a long ball and he'd either try and head it down or, chest it down and chest it to someone. And a lot of the times we did retain possession, but obviously a lot of times we didn't. So, but he also didn't have any scoring opportunity. Oh, he had one scoring opportunity, which he really screwed up, and it should have been a goal, 100%. And if it was Kane, I think that would have gone in. But I don't know.
Let me ask you a more fair question.
Okay.
More broad question, a more general question, because I think this is something that everyone's asking who's a Tottenham supporter. Where do you think our problem lies? Unless there's more than one problem.
Well, there's obviously more than one problem, but I think our main issue is like we talked about last.
This is a big. I mean, I don't even think our main issues are defense.
I agree. So let's answer your question. Do we have multiple problems? Yes, we have multiple problems. However, our issues are not unsolvable. I feel like our biggest issue right now is with, and I think this comes from Jose, is the lack of, what's the word? Not tactics, but
there's no system.
There's no system, and you look at. I was comparing our team to Man U right after the game with my good friend, and we were saying, or I was saying, you look at Ole, and he's not a shiny manager by any means. He doesn't have a lot of trophies. He's not very, experienced. He doesn't, bring a lot of experience to Man U, but you can see a clear project and you can see progress in what he's trying to do with Man U. You can see their play style. You understand what they're trying to do, and they execute it well. The players have a clear objective when they're on the pitch. They know their role. But you look at our team, and it seems like all of the players from Hugo to Carlos or whoever's up top, they don't understand what their role is on the team. They don't understand what the tactics are, because, you have Toby and Dyer sitting there looking around, across the entire pitch to find an option. They don't have an option. Then when Hodge or Tanguy gets the ball, they look around, they have nothing. So they're forced to dribble. And then Tanguy holds on to the ball too long, and then somehow he keeps it. He tries to make a pass. It's behind the player. It's little things like that the lack of system, the lack of information from our manager is causing us to just be completely stagnant. So our main issue, like you said, is there's no system. But that being said, we have a lot of issues.
I almost feel like watching how we play, Jose got hired yesterday.
It feels like that, doesn't it?
And it said, hey, I'm just going to put 11 of my guys on and go play.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's what it feels like and it looks like. And I think a majority of people would agree that. I mean, just watching the game. I mean, even watching Brighton, it's the second time.
Yeah.
And
you're not right. You're not wrong.
I question his I'm very curious to know what's going to happen with his position right now. But I'd be kind of shocked if he did get fired right now. I figured he'd finish the season, but that's a different story. But no, I genuinely do think it feels like he was hired yesterday, to where, you put, in 4-2-3-1 formation, we're looking good. On paper, we looked great. I was like, okay, I'm pretty confident with this squad. Still no Dele in the lineup, which was
He's still injured, Matt.
Oh, he is? Okay, my bad. But, the lineup that we saw today, I would have predicted. That's what I would have done.
You saw our predicted lineups on Instagram. It was pretty darn close.
Was it? And I mean, that's what I've done. So, I mean, on Jose's side, I think that's a fine starting lineup. But going onto the pitch, I think he said, all right, guys, go play. And at that point, you've got different people saying different things. You've got, heck, at that point, in time, it's so tough to even try to play your style because you got maybe this person yelling you something and then this person saying something, and then you hope you have some luck on your way as well. And I mean, it's so hard to play with confidence and motivation when you give up a really crap penalty. And at that, honestly,
Yes,
when we got scored on, it was over.
I disagree. We played
I
much
thought
better after we got scored on.
I thought we played best at like the 85th minute and on.
Yeah, obviously, we played much better in the like second, or I guess the final third of the second half. But you know, I didn't think that the penalty made. It's not like we were playing. You know, we had some hope, and then we got scored on, and then it was like downhill from there. You know, it was downhill from like the first whistle. You know what I mean? We had like a couple breaks here and there, and you could see Carlos didn't find the right pass. Bergwijn didn't make a good pass. Son was making atrocious passes. You know, it's the little things like if Davies is running out down the left side, you're playing it to his right foot, and he has to stop and take the ball, and the next thing you know, Chelsea's recovered already.
You know, I will say too, Clay,
Yeah,
that there's definitely ways to get around, a little slump, a little bump in the road, like we're in right now. And I feel like out of any manager in the world, Jose would be able to do that. Now, going into the match today, I don't even think anyone really played well. A lot of times I kept glancing back up at the screen. I loved seeing Bergwijn just sprint with the ball and get by. He got by almost Rudiger once, and then Lonzo early. Some things
I
that
agree.
Lucas has done in the past, but I think we've seen. I want to get into. There's positives. I do believe there were positives out of today's game. And as hard as some people might think there's not positives, I still think there may be some, as maybe not as many positives as negatives, but I do definitely think there's a couple. But no, I wanna go on to talking about maybe you see how the starting 11 played and how just unorganized it was. No one was really making the run that we expected. But in this scenario, if you were Jose and you didn't have Kane, you didn't have Reguilon, you didn't have some starters that you'd prefer, tactically, whether it's sitting back or high press, I don't know what we do. I want to see if you agree with me on this statement. I think how you work around this is you give some of the better attackers the ball more often. And that's, I think, Ndombele or Ndombele, how you pronounce his name right now, or Son. I think what you do is you almost force them the ball. Yes, Son didn't play well. He was quiet.
And he got the ball a lot too.
If you go off of, I'm talking more. I'm talking, that's who you find when you get the ball in defense. I thought there's too many times we get the ball, we play it back, Aurier plays it back, Davies plays it back, and we just kick it forward. Even in like the first half, we did this, and we lose.
Okay, continue. Finish your thought.
We lose the ball to where I think if Sissoko had it or Højbjerg had it, you play Tanguy. Let Tanguy do his thing with it. Whether if he can't go forward with it, that's fine. And don't get me wrong, there's other factors that go into this as well. But you have to use your strengths. And I feel like we did not do that. But there was a way today.
I think that the issue lies with our so-called top attackers. Tanguy held on to the ball for 10 minutes too long when he had it. He had a simple pass that would break a line of pressure or switch the field, and he didn't play it right away. He dribbled, lost the ball. Dribbled, passed it backwards. Son, dribble, loses the ball.
Do you think it's because maybe his teammates weren't making runs so he could play?
There was no one to pass to, regardless. So you say, Aurier, Davies, Toby, Dyer, they're all passing it back to Hugo, and Hugo's just thumping it long. And you're not wrong. That is exactly what happened. And part of that is because I texted you in the middle of the game, look at when our players, but specifically our like back line and our midfielders, whenever they got the ball, they had no options, you know. And I think that's on our players. They're not, no one's working to show for the ball. You look at Hodge, and he's checking back into our back line and creating a 5-back to get the ball, and that's absurd. You know, he's coming for, he's in a decent position, and if Dyer or Toby were to pass him the ball, you know, they'd break a line of pressure, and he'd be able to turn and maybe switch it or whatever. But instead, he's checking to them, and it's a 2-yard pass, and they're just passing it and dinking it back and forth until, well, there's no other option. Let's just play back to Hugo, and Hugo just, without any thought, he just hits it long. And I fear that was Jose's instruction. Play it
Yeah,
long to Carlos, and he'll slip it or he'll settle it down.
like the
And
9-10
that
movement.
terrifies me. 9-10 movement is right, but even then, Carlos would get a header on it and he'd slip it back, and no one's running. There's no 10 movement. Bergwijn's not running off the ball. Son's not running off the ball. You know, this is an absolutely atrocious performance from our offense. And I think, you know, as poor as our defense has been, you look at the 18 shots that Chelsea had, you know, 2 on target, in a horrible mistake from Dyer. Dyer and Toby both, and Davies a little bit, they made some incredible stops to save other goals. Like incredible, you know, sliding tackles, last minute challenges, things like that, that without that, it'd be, you know, a 3-4 goal game. No problem.
Yeah,
So you look at
for
that,
sure.
you take those positives, and you say, all right, well, our defense, we let in a stupid mistake. Okay. But it's almost it's an okay thing, because our defense is conceding off of stupid mistakes and not conceding off of, we can't defend. You know what I mean? So that might be a positive that you can look at. But at the same time, whenever we do win the ball back, Højbjerg is not in a good position. Højbjerg, I thought, had a one of his worst performances of the year. Sissoko looks gassed, and he's, you know, dropping back to right back or center back or right mid. He's all over the place,
He's
and
all over the
in
place.
no structured form whatsoever.
Well, I'm questioning if that is just poor tactics from Jose.
It could be poor tactics from Jose, but in all honesty, I think it's more of on the pitch. You have the defensive line, the midfield line, and the, you know, the attacking line. You know, those lines of our players, and you want them to be compact, or in a way where it's connected. You know, our midfield needs to connect our defense to our forwards. That's how it is. That's the way you do it. But in reality, our defense gets the ball, and there's either a large gap between our defense and our midfield, or our midfield is on top of our defense, and there's a massive gap between our midfield and our forwards. And that's got to be that's a lack of communication, a lack of awareness, a lack of composure, you know, a bunch of things that are pretty basic in terms of understanding the game. And, you know, that's on Son and Bergwijn and Tanguy and Hodge and Dyer and Toby. Even that's on everyone. You know, if the team's pressing high, the back line has to go with them. You know, they're sitting back and they're letting Werner and Pulisic and, you know, Mason Mount, you know, get depth for Chelsea, and then they're able to pick us apart. I don't know about you, but it felt like every time we got the ball, there were like 10 more Chelsea players than there were Tottenham players.
Yeah,
So,
I think props to Chelsea side. They pressed really well.
well,
Which
you know, they pressed together. That, you know, what formation they were playing, a 3-4-3. It looked like, and
yeah, they had like that. I know exactly what you're talking about.
and that's the same formation that we have criticized Tottenham for playing in the past,
3-4-2.
because our midfield, um, our our midfield is not in a positive position. You know, our 2 midfielders, they can't handle it. You know, but you look at Chelsea today, they handled it wonderfully. They never once were running around like chickens with their heads cut off, which we do often. There was always help on your left and on your right and in front of you and behind you. You know, that type of thing, where you didn't see that with Tottenham today. And part of that is the issue. You know, we got to be able to talk to each other. You know, our defense has to talk to our midfield, who has to talk to our forwards, who have to say, come on, guys, stay compact, stay together. Those gaps in between those lines are what causing us. So when we get the ball and we go forward, there's no options, and then we lose it, and then we're forced to kick it long. You know, what are your thoughts on that?
No, my thoughts are you're right. I mean, it's so tough being in the position we are, even talking about it, as much as I don't even want to talk about it because it hurts so much just to even think about what we can be compared to what we are right now. Um, I don't know. It's really unfortunate because I really think we have talent, and I just don't want our talent to be wasted.
Well, let's talk about this for a sec because we identified the issue right now. Now, why is this an issue? It's not because the players don't know this. I mean, they're taught this from, you know, U12s. You know what I mean? When they're little kids. So is this a Jose's doing? Is he not leading his team in the right way? Is he being more of a boss right now? Is he trying to just say, do this? What is Jose's role in our downfall, you could say, this season?
Well, you know what? As much as I don't want to, well, no, I'll take that back. I'm going off of the last three results. I can't remember much with Liverpool, but against Brighton and now against Chelsea, there's been no system. Brighton was even worse. I guess this game against Chelsea, I saw more of a sit back than anything. And heck, that's still kind of hard to say because I don't know. I don't really know what we were doing.
Yeah.
So I don't want to. Well,
Do it. Say it.
well, I mean, I don't want to. I mean, as much as I want Jose gone,
Yeah.
I want Jose gone. That's just personal opinion of mine. I don't know how many people would like that, hear that or not, but yes.
That's not the point. The point is we have. I honestly think like our defense, if we have some sort of system and we stick to it and we try to improve and we have a project, Poch always had a project. He had a 5-year plan, a 2-year plan, whatever it
We
may
were
be.
consistent though under Poch, for like four. After we hit third, we're like, okay, we're gonna be good next year. We hit second. Like there was. You say there's a project or a plan with Poch. There was, but another thing that Poch did was we were a high pressing team, a team that was like a Man City, a Liverpool. Now
Yeah,
we were
and
that type of system, and that proves that we have quality enough players to do that.
well, that's my point.
I don't
Is
get.
we had less quality, I think I'd argue, in some
Yes,
positions. Uh,
exactly.
so you take that, right? You take that for what it is, and you say if we play in the system, you know what? It doesn't have to be a Man City, a Pochettino pressing style. There just needs to be some sort of system, right? When Chelsea came down the pitch, you had Son or
Well,
Vinny.
okay, disclaimer though, I don't want to sit back.
I agree,
Our
and
team is
I'm
not.
not saying I wouldn't rather do that, but you look at today, our defense was nearly at our 18 when Chelsea would be coming down the pitch and Son and Vinny and Bergwijn, they'd all be in the attacking half, and that big of a stretch is what I'm talking about. If you're going to be high press, then our midfield needs to, or our back line, our midfield needs to step up 10, 15, 20 yards. But if we're going to sit back, then sit back. Whenever what Chelsea did, they sat back and their line of pressure was at the midfield line. So whenever we would cross the midfield line, that's when they'd press, right? And you gotta find that line, whatever it is on the field. It could be the top of the midfield arc. It could be, between the halfway of the attacking half, whatever it is, you got to find that line. And we just looked clueless out there, I think.
You know, this episode I thought was going to be very boring, but I'm going to make it a little interesting by asking you this question. If you had the opportunity to in this summer transfer window coming up in a couple months, I don't think it's too early to tell, like issues position wise. I know we talked about we want a new right back, we want maybe a left footed center back, blah blah. But heck, what about I guess Sabitzer's been known as a box to box midfielder who also can play the attack, blah blah blah. But is there anyone out there that you would love to grab to replace or think that someone could really make a difference? Because I have a couple.
Yeah, no, I think this is a good conversation.
People also want to hear this. This is something I want to hear from you as well. I don't even know this.
Yeah, this is funny. You might not like this, and people might not like this. And this is just a kind of a gut feeling I have. Um, I've been watching a lot of videos of our older teams. You know, you saw the Chelsea highlight video today. That was so it hyped you up. You know, it gave me some sort of confidence when in a week of I have no confidence in our team type of thing. And I feel like a player we're missing. What we're missing right now is what we've talked about this whole episode. We're missing someone or multiple people that can connect the back line to the forwards, right? Our issue lies in our midfield, and I truly believe that. Tanguy is very he's very talented and he has the ability to do that, but I just don't think he's got any help, and I feel like he doesn't have any direction from his manager, which doesn't help in how to do that. Someone we miss is someone like Ericsson. I tell you what, when Ericsson is doing well and playing well, we miss that. And I don't think we could get if we got Ericsson back, I don't know if he'd be, whatever. But we need a player like that. Is that Sabitzer? I don't know. Is that Dybala? Maybe, whoever that may be. We have to find a player like that. It's Mason Mount and Kovacic today for Chelsea. It's Thiago for Liverpool. It's Bruno and Fred, and honestly Scott McTominay for Man U. Any team, any top team, even the lower teams, they have these players that you can't compare on other teams. It's in a way it's Grealish for Villa. Declan Rice for West. I could go on. You know what I mean? But we don't have that player,
Yeah.
huh?
Soucek for West Ham.
Yeah.
That guy's a dog.
We don't have that player, that playmaker who is going to take it with confidence and in a purpose, with ambition. Rebecca Lowe at halftime and after the game, she talked about a lack of ambition in our attack, and she's spot on. So if there was a player I could sign that I feel confident in that could solve things, I really don't know. Do you have thoughts first? I want to hear what you say, and I'll think about it.
Yeah, I love this. I love transfers. Well, I think we need a center defensive midfielder, a true CDM. So like Dennis Zakaria from Gladbach would be perfect in my world. I think he would be perfect. And he doesn't even have to play CDM. He would play that Sissoko role, and Hoyvia can kind of sit. He's someone I'd look into. Jonathan Bamba is a guy on Lille. He's a French, he's like left mid, left winger. I think he would be great in the attack. He has really proved himself this season in the French league, as Lille has been very good.
Yeah.
And heck, in the position we are now, I'd look into getting someone like I'd look into getting someone who is great now or will be great in 2-3 years. Like a not like a Havertz signing, but someone that like young
totally
like
agree.
that. I know there's a couple young people out there that heck, give me someone from the US. I mean, McKinney is up there, Bellingham's up there. And it's tough because transfers are harder than heck, I say they're harder, but we don't know. We don't know about
every team seems to make them besides us. Yeah.
And it costs us, like Man United signed that Diallo guy from Atalanta who performed phenomenal in the U23 Champions League. And he was like a $40 million buy for someone who was like 18.
Right.
And yes, that might be a waste for us right now, but
we don't have that money, and Man U does. Correct. So that's okay.
And Man U does. That's fair. But if you were going to go out and get somebody, probably would get someone now who is good now, like a Dennis Zakaria, I think would be perfect. And then even in the attack, like if you're actually going to look into getting Marcel Sabitzer, I get Sabitzer. I think he'd be great for our team, especially with his work rate, his attacking ability, his defensive work rate. I mean, he's all over the pitch, something that we lack. And heck, I'd go all in and I'd go buy Skriniar right now.
Yeah.
I'd also go sell some people, of course, to get some funds for that because I know we're on a tight budget. And it's obviously easy to say, oh, I'd get this person, this person, this person, and it's going to cost $200 million at the end of the day. But teams seem to be able to sign people
Yeah.
And we seem like the one team that can't. Yet we spent, 80 mil last summer to get 7 players who I thought would be players to put us in top 4. Obviously not, because we're sitting at 8th now.
Yeah.
Um, and
That's
there's still
interesting.
plenty of time left, of course, but there's no room for us to be an 8th. We should be a top 4 team in the story
Yeah.
with the quality we have, the players we have.
I've got some players that actually I thought of. I
Go.
want Neto.
Neto's a young guy.
I think he could be the key. He's 20 years old, first of all, which is incredible that he's playing with at the level and with the experience that he's playing at. He's that third guy, I think, for us going forward in our front three, our Kane, Son, and Blank. I think Neto's that guy. He could be that guy. He could also link well with Doherty at right back. That would be amazing. I also think Podence would be a really good midfielder to get. I think he sees the field really well, and he creates. He's okay having that burden on his shoulders.
He's more like a Bergwijn position, though.
No, that's usually Traore and Neto are their wingers. Podence plays kind of all over the place. I don't know. I've just the Wolves games that I've watched, he's played some incredible balls, and we need that ability because we don't have someone who can play it. I hate to say it, but we don't. But that being said, also Skriniar is a must buy, and I think Sabitzer too. So if I could do 3, I'd say Skriniar, Sabitzer, and Neto. And I think if we did that, we'd be sitting very nice.
I'm not mad. That'd be a great 3 signings. That'd be great.
Yeah.
In a perfect world.
Totally. All right. Let's pull it back to the reality, right? What do we have right now?
Things have to change. Things have to change.
So
I don't know what's going to change, and I don't know if we have a Prim game next or we have.
I think West Brom at the weekend.
We play West Brom on the weekend.
I think so.
Okay, is FA Cup next week then? I think it is.
No, we actually go. I think we go West Brom and then Everton, then City, and then
Everton's FA Cup.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
That's at Everton.
Yep.
That makes sense. Okay, yeah. So West Brom this weekend, a team that we should 100% win against at home. Cry for help. But I don't know what to say about that coming game. I don't think there's anything for me to say at the moment. But I do want to dive into, before we get into the player ratings, Clay, I want to dive into just a couple players that not necessarily stood out to me, but players I want to talk about before we hit to the player ratings. I don't want necessarily you to grade them or talk them just off this game, but maybe the past couple games, the past 3 games.
Okay.
So
hope you know that grading them off the past 3 games might not be much better than today.
That's fair, because we did lose. But hey, to be fair, I mean there was still some positive I thought from some players. What did you think of Aurier today?
I mean, to be honest, I don't see any things that it's like, oh yeah, he played well. I don't think anyone did that. I don't get that from anyone. I don't think he played better than most people, I'd say. But nothing special. I don't think he really brought anything to the team. He had one nice cross, but if you're an outside back and that's your claim to fame is I had one nice cross today, then
Devin did 10 nice crosses, even more.
Well, I mean, he also still had cross that was absolutely atrocious. So, it's really hit or miss, and it's a shame because I think Aurier could have gotten a lot more praise and maybe a little bit better rating, perhaps, if Vinny scores that, but he didn't in a big moment. So, yeah, I thought Aurier played okay. I did want to talk about him actually too because, typically we're not the biggest Aurier fans, but he put a good shift in, an okay shift in. Still, you see when he loses the ball, he lashes out in an immature way, and not an immature in sayings of yelling or hitting or whatever, but he gets upset and he fouls him right away, and it's just unnecessary so many times. There's no composure there, but to be fair, that's all across our back line. Maybe Toby has it, but even him, he's not getting any younger. Dyer has no direction. He's a brand new center back, and he has no direction. I think we've seen glimpses of positives from Dyer. He's really good at shot stopping. I think that's true. Well, 1-on-1 defending, he's not bad. Same with Toby, but
we praised our back line in the early episodes, and I'm
Because
not going to say we haven't, because we
yeah,
have.
they were but they played well.
They were good. We were good.
We had a system.
So what happened now?
They have no direction. They have no system. They're low on confidence. They don't know what's going on, and they see a
They just don't know what to do.
or it's like our team is on a roller coaster and they just got to the top, and now they're looking down and they don't know where they're going. You know what I mean? It's all downhill. That's all they see. And then low on confidence, you can totally see it. Dyer's low on confidence. Toby's low on confidence. Ben Davies is just straight up overworked. I thought he made some great tackles today. That's going to go by the wayside in terms of, people analyzing the game. But, he lost the ball so many times going up the left-hand side. And I don't even know if that's his fault. He had nowhere to pass it to. And the announcer said it almost every time. Davies earned a throw in for his team, but he had nowhere to go, And it's like, that's the issue, I think, is a level of confidence. There's no direction. There's no support. It seems like I feel like they don't know what to do. Who's the next player? Yeah, go ahead.
No, I would agree with that. I'm not going to go hit on that. I think you hit the nail on the head right there. That was nice. What about why is it to me that Son only plays well when Kane's on the pitch? Or like we see the most out of Son when Kane's on the pitch. I feel like 2-3 years ago, Son was remarkable no matter who he played with.
Yeah, I don't think it comes from Kane. I think it's a coincidence that Kane is no longer here and he's also not playing well. I think it started with his open misses that he missed. What game was that when he missed a couple open shots, hit the post maybe?
Son?
Yeah. Was that Liverpool? No, that was another big game. I'm not sure. It might have been Fulham or so one game we got a poor result and could have been Leicester. I don't know. I don't know what the game was, but when we started to see Son, he hasn't scored in a long time, and we started to say, Son needs a goal. Son is a player who operates almost 100% off of confidence. I feel like, he has no I feel bad because he talks about how he doesn't want to have a family or a wife yet because he wants to focus on football, and when he has a family, they should be his sole focus, and that's great, and it's an awesome philosophy. I think it is, but same time, he's got no support system at home. I feel like, when he goes home, everyone goes home to their families. He kind of goes home to himself. Yes, his father is a huge part of his life, but Son operates a lot off of confidence, and we've seen it in the past. If he starts a game off poorly, he's kind of quiet the whole game, and that's a game where we might say he was absent, kind of just not there type of thing. And I feel like he's in the same boat as a lot of the defenders are in terms of they have no confidence, they have no direction, no support, no, anything to help them get out of that rut. Son, the best thing that can happen to Son is to get a goal. And once he gets that goal, I don't think we'll see Son not playing well because of Kane. We'll see Son playing well, like you said, 2-3 years ago. What do you think about that?
No. You're reading my mind, I feel like. But that's why I ask you these questions on purpose, because I have a feeling I know what you're going to say.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. I don't know. I just felt like it's Son doesn't necessarily perform to the highest level that he can when Kane's off the pitch. I feel like Kane puts him in those scenarios. And I'm not necessarily trying to worship Kane here. I'm just saying it's
I get that.
Like, Kane's on. I'm gonna play well now. Compared to I'm just not feeling it today.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. It came up in my head today watching this game because it's happened in the past. It's happened even last year. It happens, but it's happening consistently.
Yeah, no, it's been about a couple 3 or 4 weeks of him not playing so hot.
But to be fair, last season when Kane went out, Son did step up.
Yeah, and that's my point. Yeah.
And so where is that Son? Why
confidence? It's the team, dude. It's the mentality of the team at the moment. There's no direction. There's no direction. There's no confidence. There's no sense of
urgency
or ambition or anything like that. And it's tough. I was talking earlier. Huh?
Desire.
Yeah.
Want.
It's interesting. I was talking earlier when I started watching Spurs. I started watching them, and when you'd watch them, it'd be like magic, kind of. And if I was a little boy watching Spurs right now, I would not get that same feeling by any means, and that's sad. And I think the players feel the same way. They want to give everything to the fans, but I just don't. I don't think. I think they're, kind of just in there's not even. I don't even know if there's a word for it, but they just don't know what to do. So it's tough. It comes back to what we talked about, the tactics, and perhaps Jose. So.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the first couple games. I remember we played West Ham at home. We tied them 3-3, unfortunately. But I remember when we played them and we were unstoppable. I was like, we can beat anybody.
Yeah,
It's
crazy.
It's crazy how it just
changes like that, huh?
changes like that. Like 3 games with 3 losses. But
it is crazy.
I know. So let's get to those player ratings.
All right, maybe we should do a Jose episodes come here soon because there's a lot to talk about there. So, all right, player ratings. Here we go. Okay, starting off, Hugo. Got it?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, 6. What'd you say?
6.
Yeah, I mean he made some good saves, but that's about it. All right, Ben Davies. 3, 2, 1, 5.
4.
Okay. Dyer. 3, 2, 1, 4.
4.
2.
Toby. 3, 2, 1, 4.
5.
Serge. 3, 2, 1, 5. Musa Sissoko. All right, ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, 5. What'd you say?
6.
All right. Højbjerg. 3, 2, 1, 5.
5.
Tanguy. 3, 2, 1, 5.
6.
Son. 3, 2, 1, 4.
5.
I'm being harsh today, Matt.
I can see.
Vinny. 3, 2, 1, 5.
6.
Bergwijn. 3, 2, 1, 6. All right. Should we rate Lucas and Lamela today?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, that being said, Lamela. 3, 2, 1, 5.
6.5.
We only do whole numbers, Matt. Come on.
Round it up.
Have you ever been here before?
6.
All right, Lucas. 3, 2, 1.
I'm gonna be honest.
Okay, whoa, what?
Be honest. When you were counting down Lamella, I had no number in my head.
Well, that's the point. You got to just kind of like go on your instinct.
Well, I was gonna say like a 9, but I'm not gonna say 9.
You bet. I would not have written that down. I hope you realize that.
I was just thinking of numbers.
I would have said 9. Okay, 6. So, Lucas. 3, 2, 1, 6.
5.
All right.
5.
All right, folks. Here's the big one. Do you know who we're rating
Bale?
next, Matt?
I give Bale 9. He did well.
His hair didn't get messed up, that's for sure.
He was laughing when Lucas and Lamella were coming on.
I know.
How's that?
Oh my gosh! Speaking of Bale, did you see after the game in Jose's press conference?
No, what Bale
The reporter goes, "Jose, you chose not to play Bale today. Can I ask why?" And he goes, "That's a good question, but you don't deserve to know the answer."
Did he actually say
Yeah,
that?
I actually said that.
Wait, why? What? Why do we?
I think he's embarrassed because he doesn't have an answer. He's not got no answer. So that being said, let's rate
Got no answer for that, dude.
the Gaffa Jose. 3, 2, 1, 2.
2. Oh,
Pretty low answers, but
I want to give him a. Can I give him a fire?
no. All right, man of the match,
Bale.
Hugo.
Yours is Hugo.
Yeah, he made those saves, great saves, and no one else played well enough to get that.
I'm gonna say, okay, that's fair, but I'm not gonna say him.
I don't know how you could say anyone else that played.
Okay, maybe I will say Hugo.
All right.
I don't want to, but I guess
All
it
right.
is.
Play of the game.
Aurier's cross at the end.
I agree. No, it had such a poor ending. I don't know. That's such a
I didn't
sad.
say the header. I said the cross.
I'm gonna say Hugo's save.
That was a good save.
Hidden gem.
Sissoko.
That's funny. I disagree with that so much.
I
so heavily.
It might be a little biased, but I'm a big Sissoko fan, and I think him being put into right mid, center mid, right back. I mean, just all over the place.
That's true. Sissoko is
able to
yeah.
still perform.
He performs no matter what.
Whether it's not necessarily to his best, it's not like he's a liability like Aurier could be, but he's been able to fulfill a role when he's in it for maybe 30 seconds to 3 minutes.
That's funny you said that because I'm gonna say Aurier is mine.
Hidden gem.
Yeah. Because today he did put a really good cross in, and out of a game where everyone played horribly, that's typically a game where he gives up a crap pen, or he makes some, but he didn't. He stayed semi-composed, and he hit a good cross at the end that could have gotten us points, but it wasn't his fault that it wasn't finished. So
Saying that you just said Aurier is your hidden gem.
I don't have anything against Aurier. I like him. He's a great guy, but I just don't think he's that. I just don't think he's good enough to be a starting Premier League outside back. At least if with the goals that we have, and that's not like
play the championship. I don't know. That might
he could start in the Premier League, but he's not, to the expectations that we have. No one is on our team right now. No right backs, to be fair. So
that's fair. I would agree with that.
So nothing against him personally or anything like that. So it's a good episode, Matt. I feel a little bit better, but I still feel this numbness towards our team right now. In a bad way, because I love the feeling of passion and everything towards them.
We need a dub. We need to get a win soon. And this weekend will be great. Why can't we just win 4-0? That'd be perfect.
It would be amazing.
Put Dele in. Wait, he's hurt.
I know. I don't know if he'll be back or not, but I'm hoping he is. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. We are officially on YouTube now. First video is up. This will be the second. So be sure to check us out there on YouTube as well. But also, you know the drill. Twitter at Tottenham_talks and Instagram at Tottenham_talk_podcast. Thanks for listening, guys. And I know this is tough to keep saying, but you have to believe it. Come on, you Spurs.